All right, folks, welcome back to another Exploded Figure Review. Today we've got something very special for you. So this is a kind of a new thing, but it's still part of an old thing. So within the Mythic Legions line, they have a new thing coming out called Legacies of Mythoss. And what this is this is a way for them to take older figures that are very important to the story, important to the line, and update them with soft goods, new design elements, new articulation, and just give us a newer version of that character. The old format was kind of to do this, what they called All-Stars. They would have the fan community vote on who they would want reissued. Most of the time, what it ended up being was whichever characters were the most expensive at the time, that's what people voted on, and they would just reissue them. The problem with that is that the line has gotten so much better over the last few years, and just reissuing those older figures, while it did kind of scratch that itch for people that didn't want to spend that money on that character on eBay, it just doesn't hold up to the newer figures. So I think this is a great substitution for the All-Stars. In this, we're going to get those soft goods, the extra design elements, and so the first one we've got has Otho here, as well as Urzak, which we'll cover in a later video. Otho was in the first wave of Mythic Legions. All indications are he did not sell super well. But shortly after that wave was in hand, people were really clamoring for this guy. So much so that for years, people have been asking for a reissue or something with this character. Because he just goes for such a high dollar price on eBay, and he really is a cool character when you read through his story and stuff. So I think this is an excellent way to bring him out and get him to people. So just kind of looking at this first side of the box, you've got that photography from Trevor Williams, 1/6 shooter. You've also got some great artwork on the back from Nate Barch. And then, several people have noticed on the back of the box here, you've got a little Aetheron logo and a Necronominus logo. What does that mean? Who's coming next? We really don't know. Four Horsemen rarely kind of locks themselves in a corner as far as, how much they're going to release, when they're going to release it. So, are they going to always come out in pairs like we have here with Urzak and Otho? Are they going to come out with more figures in a wave, less figures in the wave? Maybe there's one that's a kind of a bigger, more expensive figure. Maybe that comes out by itself. We really don't know. But I'm excited for this because I think this helps to bring us those really important characters in the new format. So let's go ahead and explode this thing and see what we got.
You best get ready, because now it's time for Art by Akerman.
All right, so here we go with the Otho review. Starting off, I wanted to show the clamshells in the package because I think that's a nice view to have in case you ever need to put the stuff back. Maybe you're not going to use all the accessories or whatever and you want to put it away for easy storage. This kind of shows how everything goes back in that package. I know a lot of times I forget. And then looking at the exploded figure, here it is here. This is the Otho. Now, initially, it's only offered in a 2-pack, or it's not really a 2-pack, but they're individually packaged, but you have to buy them together in the in-stock sale, which is the Otho and the Urzak. It's going to cost you $110. That is on Monday, September 15th. Should be as this video is first dropping. And then that's at 11 a.m. And then that following Friday, September 19th, it opens for pre-order. During the pre-order, you can order each of the figures individually. So if you just wanted to get 5 Urzaks or 10 Othos or whatever, you could do that. You don't have to get them in pairs. And then after that, I believe that ends on October 5th, and then it opens up for retailers. Same thing, you can order them individually. But initially, you have to get the two together. It's $110. So what we're looking at here is a $55 figure. And I will say, just initially looking at it, there's definitely $55 worth of value here. So we're going to start off with the head as always. So there is this helmet here, and this helmet comes with this little attachment that goes to the top, and that kind of holds the faceplate in place. And then it has this mask here that attaches this way, and then kind of moves up and down. So this is more of kind of the builder option, I would say. because it doesn't have the attachment in the back for his hair. You know, if you wanted to build these out and make a bunch of these, this would probably be the one to go with there. So that's the more basic helmet, but still new stuff. You've got like a kind of a silvery, it's not really gunmetal, it's more kind of silver or shiny silver. I believe that the color match, if I remember from Bill's review, matches like the original Templar. And then you got some gold accents here as well. So some nice paint work there. And then this is all just kind of one color on these pieces here. Then going into the next one, you've got this lion helmet. So this is kind of the base part of it. You see down here at the bottom, you've got like a lower jaw of the lion. And then here you've got the rest of the head of the lion helm. So you have this look where you can kind of open it part way, open it all the way. You could have it all the way closed. It also comes with one of these pieces here to hold in the faceplate, as well as the faceplate itself that we'll look at. And then it's got this hair attachment. So this hair attachment can go into the back of the helm like this. So it comes out of the helm, or it can go into the other head that we're going to look at in a second. But just looking at this mask first, it is a really cool design here with this, you know, lion head, similar to Hadriana's, but a little bit bigger, a little bit more detail, in my opinion. So you got some gold rivets and stuff on here, and then it can create some cool looks when you have it kind of partially open. So we'll go ahead and throw this faceplate in here and talk about this. So let's plug this in here. It's just got two prongs in the back. Same thing with this. So like that. So the faceplate itself, really nicely done. He's got these really detailed blue eyes. The facial hair is sculpted and then painted on. Yeah, just really cool look. And then if you throw that hair attachment on there, that is kind of the look that you get from that helmet. And then, like I said, you can close it partially, you can close it all the way, however you wanted to do that here. And then this hair, because it's a big, you know, plug piece, you can kind of turn it however you wanted it to go. You can kind of twist it around to where, like, you know, if you want it kind of coming out the side more or whatever, you can just kind of twist that there. So it's a really cool job on that. And that faceplate will work in both helmets. Should also mention that this, like the lion attachment, will work in the other helmet too. It kind of looks a little silly because you don't have the bottom jaw. Same thing with the other one. If you wanted to attach that other one here, it will attach. It's the same plugs. Just kind of looks a little odd. So next you have the full Otho head without the helmet. Once again, we can take that hair piece. He's got kind of this wrap that goes around his hair, and you just plug that hair piece in there like that, and that's the kind of look that you get there. Once again, you could turn this a bit if you wanted to. You know, that kind of looks a little silly, but yeah, that's the overall look there. Once again, those kind of piercing blue eyes, the facial hair, the beard is really nicely sculpted. There's a lot of detail in there, a little dry brushing. But yeah, just really, really cool head sculpt. So this is definitely the one that I will be using. I love the helmets, but yeah, this is just iconic. So next we'll go into the neck piece. This is really ornate. I don't recall seeing this one before. It's got a lot of gold accents on that silver color with the little, you know, leather strap here. So that's cool. Then for the neck, you do have the articulated neck that has, you know, kind of go back and forth. It's a little stiff right out of the packaging. Probably have to heat that up to get it to kind of move a little bit, but yeah, that will go back and forth, give you a little bit of swivel there. We'll heat that up when we go to put that back together. Next, going down into the pauldrons, you got these kind of the really flat, more aerodynamic pauldrons. I believe these are the same ones that are on like Elijah, with that nice gold trim on the silver with, you know, some rivets painted in and stuff. Little ornate detail on the back there. So that's the pauldrons. Then going into the upper arm, you've got kind of the standard arm that we've seen here recently. This has that kind of layered look to it. You've got the gold rivets, really nice paint apps here where you've got this, you know, leather strap across here. The chainmail is painted in kind of a more like a dark gold. And then you've got these accent pieces that are painted in a brighter gold. And then even right here on the side, you see these like two little leather straps with like gold, you know, kind of attachments here. You know, just tiny, tiny paint apps on this. Even into the, you know, the underside of the elbow here, you've got that chainmail painted nicely. This is where I've pulled off the elbow pad. It's one of those pieces that's not really meant to come off. But I did, and this one was really glued on there. You see the glue kind of went even down the side here. Sometimes you can get them off pretty easily, sometimes you can't. Once again, that's not a piece that you need to take off or is really meant to come off, but you can if you need to. That one kind of got a little ugly there as I was pulling it off because of the amount of glue. Here's the other one. You see this one kind of popped out pretty easily. Barely any glue over the side. It was mostly down in there. So then going into the elbow pad, this is that piece that we were talking about that's not really meant to come off. Really nice job with the leather strap here and then the gold buckles and stuff. And then that, you know, lighter gold accent piece going across, little rivet there. So, I mean, just these tiny, teeny tiny paint apps, really cool. Then you've got your lower arm here. Lower arm has that, you know, kind of gold on the chainmail. It looks like the peg here was in like a silver and then has some gold on it. So that you might get a little bit of flaking there, although mine's not really doing too much. You can see it here where it's got the dual color. And grab my X-Acto and kind of scrape a little bit here. So actually I was wrong. It looks like there's the gold is what the peg is, and then the silver from the elbow is kind of what it got on here. So so actually if you flake that off, it will, you know, match that gold color on the inside. So it looks like on the inside they didn't really paint it. On the outside they, you know, put a silver on here to kind of match the back here. So it's up to you. Leave it silver, or you can kind of, I like the gold. I'll scrape that off there. Most of that's going to be covered up by that, you know, upper arm and elbow pad anyway. But yeah, looks like, once again, the peg itself is gold. It's got some silver paint on it. Then you go down into the bracer. Bracer has some nice detail as well. A couple different, you know, rivets there, the gold accents coming across, trim all the way around the top. Just some really nice trim on this. Then the hands, both of the hands that come in on the figure are these expressive hands. They have a horizontal hinge, so side to side, and they're, you know, just kind of like this. But he does have two sets of gripping hands that come with it that we'll look at. I'll go ahead and grab those now. So you've got one set here with the vertical hinges, so like this, if you want to kind of loft the sword in the air and stuff. So one set with the vertical hinge, and then one set of gripping hands with the horizontal hinge. All of the hands have these, you know, the rivets painted in gold, has that layered armor look. Really cool, really nice job. Even like on the knuckles here, you see these like little tiny rivets painted in gold. So then going into the torso, this is your kind of red shield soldier style torso. You've got the kind of leaf on here is painted in gold. You've got some gold rivets all throughout. You see up over the top and everything. And a lot of this, I mean, you're going to have these soft goods on it. It's going to cover all this stuff up, but they still didn't like spare any expense on the paint apps, even though that you're going to have, typically you're going to have those soft goods on here and it's going to cover it all up. they still went to the time and effort and expense of doing these like straps and rivets and you know, painting these like leaves and stuff. It's just really, really cool. Then going down further, we'll go down to the waist piece. This is the waist that they're using on here. It's got a couple rings hanging off of some leather straps. Same thing in the back. Really continuing that layered armor look. Gold trim all the way around, and then some gold rivets. The leather straps have some silver rivets on them, attaching those to the waist piece. So there's that. This did come with a belt that goes over top of this. We'll look at the other belts here in a bit, but this one was like this on there. So it's got a couple spots on the side to hold, you know, sword or something else if you wanted to. So we'll come back to that as far as the belts go. Here is your loin piece. It's the chainmail one that we've seen with like Vorthog, a couple other figures. And I really love this piece. This is one of my favorite loin pieces. Normally you see this chainmail painted like in a silver or gunmetal. I like this painted in gold. It looks really nice. And then you've got the gold rivets and the trim down there. So pretty cool piece. Then for the pelvis, you do have the longer peg that goes into this pelvis. This is to support the soft goods because you're going to have some extra gap in there. If you're not going with the soft goods, you could switch this out for a smaller peg from another figure. These pegs are not easy to come out. Like I had to heat this thing up. I put it in, did some boiling water, put it in a cup, put this in there, and I really had to yank to get this thing out. But if you wanted to do the soft without the soft goods for some reason, you could switch that out and do that. I even noticed on here there's a little L, which I've never noticed on these before, but I'm assuming that this stands for long. So this is the long peg that goes into the torso, whereas the other one might be standard or small or something like that. So just kind of interesting is something that I noticed there. But yep, so that'll go back in there when we go to put it back together. Then going into the legs, you got your standard kind of hip joint here, hip and upper leg. No real paint apps on this to speak of, other than just kind of that silver color. That goes into the thigh, and here you do have a ton of paint. You got the leather straps with the gold buckle, gold rivets here, gold rivets on the side, same thing here, you know, kind of replicated on this side from the other side. The peg, once again, I believe this is all in gold, but they painted a silver on there, so it kind of looks like it matches here on the front side, and then on the back side, it's actually that gold that is, you know, what it's molded in. So if you wanted to, you could scrape this plastic or this paint off and have that look gold if you wanted to. Once again, this is going to go into the lower leg. You're really probably not going to see any of this anyway, but just FYI. Going into the lower leg, it kind of looks like this when you get it. This is once again one of those pieces that's not really meant to come off. Sometimes they're pretty easy to get off. Like this one, I kind of pulled it on the side, and you can see there was like no glue over here, no glue over here. And it just kind of popped off pretty easily. You see the L here for left, and then putting it back together, you just glue this on. Once again, not meant to come off, but if, you know, some third-party person wanted to make something that would attach to this key, you could, you know, kind of change up the look of that lower leg. For the lower leg itself, you'd still have some of those, you know, leather straps, gold buckles, gold rivets, little ornate details there on the side. So really, really cool. And then going down into the feet, I did remove the ankle peg for this review, just so you guys could see that. And then you've got the gold rivets on the side here. This is that more kind of pointy armored foot. Yeah, very, very sleek, and still continuing that layered armor effect. So, and then the small part here goes into the foot, big part goes into the lower leg, and you attach it that way. So So that's the figure itself. Then going into the soft goods, and these are just really well done here. It's this really nice blue color. It's a sturdy fabric. It feels like there's definitely some, some thickness to this. It's got an elastic at the bottom that allows you to just slide it over that torso. And then you've got this like gold trim here, as well as some gold stitching on the inside of that. On the back, you've got a couple holes for the pauldrons to go into. No extra gold details on the back, but really cool. Then you've got the waist piece, and same kind of thing. Got that blue, got the gold trim going down and around, and then that gold stitching on the inside of it. And this one is fully wired, so the side here is wired and the bottom is wired, and same thing with this other flap over here. So, you can create some movement in this piece if you wanted to, because you can, with that wire, you can get it to pose however you want. And then the loin piece, same thing. This is covering up that chainmail one that I was talking about I love so much. So you're not even really going to see that too much. But normally you wouldn't, because this would go over top of it. The way that they had this in here was they had it to where they've got this hole and the chainmail part actually goes over top of it. So some of the soft good loin pieces typically will go over the loin. With this one, because of this hole here, you still have the chainmail can go over top of it and creates this kind of look here. But if you didn't want to do that, you could just use this and not use this, and then save this for another figure if you wanted to. So just a couple different ways to kind of look at that. So then going into the other belts, you've got this kind of thicker belt that has, really just nice leather look. Like if you just look in close on there, you've got like dark in the crevices, and then it's lighter on top. It's either a really nice wash or even some, possibly some dry brushing on top. And then just the little like grommets and rivets and buckles and, all that just really nicely painted. Then you've got the smaller strap. This is kind of the one that goes over the torso. And it's just a thinner leather strap with a little silver buckle on it. Then going into the weapons, you've got this sword that is just awesome. I believe this whole thing is new. At least the pommel on this is new. And I don't know if that comes off. I don't really want to mess with it too much, but let me take a look real quick. Never mind. It did. It just popped right out. So we just learned something, folks. So yeah, that lion head on the end of that sword just pops right out of there. It doesn't even look like it was glued. It looks like it was just a like pressure fit. So yeah, that's going to give you some options for some different ends on that sword. So it might have had some glue, but it doesn't. If it did, it didn't have much. So really cool. The gold. You got some gold, silvers, blue in here. A little gem here that's a lighter blue. And then you've got this to hold it. This really kind of darker blue that's really pretty. And then the gold, and then that lighter blue there. So it creates this look. You can put that on his back. You can put that on the side. But yeah, that's just a beautiful weapon right there. Then going into, let me pull that lion back off. We'll have to get a picture of that for the exploded review. Going into the axe separates into 3 parts, which we'll look at. But first off, this is the axe head, and this thing is just absolutely gorgeous. I love this metallic blue in here, and then the detail work with the gold trim is fantastic, especially as you get over here into this small area, and it just stays right with it. I mean, the paintwork is spot on. Here's the other side, same thing. This is a beautiful axe head. I love this. That goes into this piece here. It's this smaller piece It's got some, you know, rivets, and it's kind of an interesting look, the way that this has like these like really thick ball rivets kind of going like all around it. And then that goes into this piece, which is the handle. And, you know, he could hold it here with one hand, or if you wanted to, he could hold them in this section with two hands, and get a double-handed grip on it. It's really neat axe. I'm really taken in by the colors here. And then that's, you know, offset that with this darker blue down here. Just really cool. Love that. We'll separate that back out. Then you've got this other sword that's kind of the more standard. We've seen this with like Elijah, Enoch. It has that cross on here, but it's all just painted one solid color. It's just all that silver, with blue on the handle, and then everything else is silver. And then here you've got this smaller one for this one. Once again, in that same kind of dark blue color that we saw here with that gold on it. So that's a nice matching set. And then going into the shield, which is one of my favorite pieces. I really love this shield. It's got two looks. So you can have just kind of this, you know, like dome thing on here for just kind of a standard like builder shield. And it just has like a circle, like a ring on the back that just kind of pops in here. Nothing that goes through like in some of our other shields. And then this one is the lion head one. And that is just, look at that. That's freaking cool. I love that. So, and then on the back, it's the standard shield peg. So you've got, you know, the little pistol grip that goes on here, and just kind of holds it like that. But it looks like this is the start of that new design for the shield, that new handle, to where that could potentially like clip in here, for that new handle down the road. We don't have those yet, but we have seen them introduced in the Horrors of Imsawal wave. But yeah, so there's that look here. I just love this shield. So there you go. That is the complete figure. Next, we're going to put it back together with some fast motion. So we will do that right now. Here we go with fast motion. All right, so here is Otho put all back together. And man, this thing is just gorgeous. I do need to move this lion head. Let's kind of rotate that around, get that facing upwards. But yeah, I mean, I love this overall look. It is so freaking good. So yeah, that's what it looks like. And then you still have all these parts left. You just got a couple extra helmet options. You got that faceplate that's there, a few extra hands, and this part for the shield that are all left over. Other than that, he's holding an axe. He's got 2 swords on him, a shield. I don't know what more you could want. So let's come back for final thoughts. All right, folks, that is it for my exploded figure review on the first Legacies of Mythoss figure, Otho. So we've been waiting for this one. We've been waiting for this one. A lot of us that had got in the line late and didn't get him initially, as well as just folks that saw it last year, the tease at G-Con, and it does not disappoint. Out of the two, this is the sizzle. I would say Urzak is the steak, but this is the one that, you know, was going to get people hype. I think that we'll talk about it in the Urzak review, but I think Urzak has a few more new parts. It's kind of more, it's more of an overall update that we haven't seen. A lot of the parts on here are knight parts that we've been getting on Gideon and Enoch and Elijah and Andrew and all these others. So there's not as much new on this figure, but the overall look is fantastic. This axe, the shield, and the soft goods, along with just the overall head sculpt, bring this thing together spectacularly. I could not be more impressed with this figure. It is pretty awesome. I love just the look of the sword coming out the top too, with the lion on the pommel. Yeah, this thing's amazing. So definitely need to pick this up. It does have an alternate helmet that could be army built out. So if you wanted to pick up some extras to army build, you can definitely do that. But I mean, if you just want to use this for customizing, you know, there's a lot of great stuff in here between the soft goods, that shield, the axe, the sword, the head sculpt, that lion mask that opens up where the head can go inside of there. I mean, there's just a lot of great stuff here. So hope that you enjoyed this exploded figure review. If you did, there is a playlist on the channel for just the exploded figure reviews. Make sure to check that out. There's also playlists for several other things on here. If you're into customizing, there's a How They Do That segment where I talk to different artists in the community about how they create their work. There's some tips and tools segments. I'd even go on some toy hunts every now and then when I'm traveling for work. So, you know, I'm sure there's something here for you. You know, check it out. And thanks for watching. Until next time, folks, keep creating.